if you know a little bit about humanitarian, I mean, in West Africa we have a lot of crises. Ebola was a big one, and we have also crises related to terrorism, like in northern Nigeria. And every time we have such type of crisis, we need data to respond. We need data to prepare. And often the data is not available at the right time or in the right format. So to solve this problem, we launched this platform, and the goal is to have a single place where all humanitarian actors can find the right data they need to prepare for crisis or to respond. But our platform is open, and even if you are not humanitarian, you can use the platform. And as my friend said, I think many people use HDX to get spatial data because there is a lot of data in our platform. So just to give you a few numbers, I mean some figures about HDX, we have around 5,000 data set on the platform, 288 organizations. Organization is really important in HDX because a single person cannot share data in the platform. It's about sharing data, right? And to give the right of people to use this data, and particularly for humanitarian. But if, for example, you have a cool data set, you cannot go on HDX and upload the data. You need to be part of an organization. So this is the screening process we use to make sure the data is some high quality data, because people taking decision with this data, so we just allowed organization to share data. So the process is always the same. An organization send a request to join the platform, and then we discuss with the organization what type of data do we have, how the data can be valuable for humanitarian organization, and then the process to share data starts. So we have a lot of organization. I'm just showing this to give you an idea of the diversity of the organization we have. I mean, we have big UN organizations like WFP, we have private sector, ESRI, we have Red Cross organization, local and the global one, and we have even universities. So I mean, we have a lot, and open data initiative around the world. So I mean, we are really open to many type of organization as long as they have, I mean, data that can be valuable for humanitarian actors, because that's our main goal. We are really focusing on that. But many people that come on HDX are not on humanitarian. We have a lot of journalists that use our data to write articles, a lot of researchers, students, and so on. So, as I said at the beginning, please, if you have any question, please stop me and then we can start discussing. So, as I said, this is what we call our quality assurance framework. We want to be as impartial as we can. So we cannot like say, oh, your data is bad quality and this and that. We are just a repository to get the data. So the only way for us to make sure we have good quality data is just to accept non-organization working on humanitarian sectors. So that's what we are doing. So, and we make sure that the data they share are not data that can put people in danger, like personal identified data, PII. So we refuse this type of data, and sometimes we have requests like this. Not too often, but we have this sometimes. So beside being a repository, we offer services for organization on HDX. I think the goal is to simplify data sharing. For example, if you are an organization and you want to be part of an open data platform or something, and you don't have the resource to build your own platform, we can help the organization share the data. The organization can have a page on HDX with the list of the data, and they can control which data they decide to share on the page. So this is, for example, a few examples of organization. You have WFP, and you have UCL, University. They are working on a lot of statistical modeling for HDX, and it is really important when you want to respond to crisis in general. In every major crisis, one important aspect is to have the maps to know where people are and to respond. And most of the time, it's really difficult to get it at the right time. So OpenStreetMap, in particular the humanitarian OpenStreetMap team, they go on the field, they respond, they do a lot of mapping exercise, and they collect a lot of data. So it's a process that started a long time, and it was really at some point difficult to get all the data directly from them. It required a good knowledge of OpenStreetMap. So this year, we teamed up with the team of OpenStreetMap, particularly humanitarian OpenStreetMap, to build the custom tools that allow to get the data directly from OpenStreetMap into HGX, so that when we want to prepare for crisis or when you're in crisis, you just push one button, boom, and then you can have whatever data you want from OpenStreetMap. If you want the buildings, you can just use the tool that is built to have buildings. If you want the roads, on a single click you have roads. I mean, for people who doesn't know much about OpenStreetMap, I mean, it's a big deal to have just a tool like that. And you can have it in GIS format like shapefile, GeoPackage, even Google Earth KML. So I think it was really, we were very happy for this collaboration with OpenStreetMap. And as I said, one thing important for us is really also now helping the community, local OpenStreetMap community in West Africa, for example, in general, or in Africa. I was very lucky to be in Kampala for State of the Map Africa, and we saw a lot of young people, I mean, mapping all around the continent and doing a lot of great stuff. So we are really now in this process of seeing how we can help these communities better. We started with OpenStreetMap Senegal, and we want to really scale to West Africa. I mean, it's really difficult to have the whole continent, but we start in West Africa to see how to better support this community, because the data they collect can be valuable tomorrow if you have a crisis. So the tool is like that. I mean, it's a technical aspect, not really a big deal if you are not familiar with OpenStreetMap. Who is familiar with OpenStreetMap? Who is using OpenStreetMap here? OpenStreetMap users, 2, 3, 4, good. I don't know, I mean, on Monday, there's Natalie, you had a session on Monday on OpenStreetMap, right? So you explain everything, GeoSM and all the tools. Cool. I mean, it's really cool to have these people, I mean. Ah, that's great. Yeah, you can use the mic, I mean, so that people can understand.
This evening we have a mapathon. Donc, yeah, well, I can say a workshop. Well, it's a workshop where we create some data.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this mapathon is also an opportunity for those who will be initiated in OpenStreetMap to know how to map and to know all the importance of this big project data. So you can find us. If you want to attend, you can approach us and write your name.
I mean, I will write my own name because, I mean, since Kampala, I'm in love with OpenStreetMap. I knew about it, but when I saw all the community there, I mean, it was really great. And I urge people, I mean, to start mapping and start participating. It's not really that difficult. You need to learn 1 or 2 tools, but I mean, you can really, really do a lot of things for your own community. Having buildings, I mean, health site and things like that is really a great project. Yes?
So how do I get to learn the tools, okay, that I need to be able to work in OpenStreetMaps if I'm not able to come for their session?
Okay. I mean, as a beginner on OpenStreetMap, I mean, I can just start answering the question, but since we have experts here, they can maybe add something. I think the wiki of OpenStreetMap is really great. I mean, they spent a lot of time like giving a lot of information on it. I mean, the first information source, I mean, is the wiki of OpenStreetMap. You have a lot of tools. But I think it's good to have OpenStreetMap people just at the beginning so that you can see how they are working, to just have the small push, and then you can do your own journey. I mean, I just started my journey on OpenStreetMap, and I think I will continue to map because I mean, the most important thing is not the tools, it's not the software. I mean, it's the community, and that's really great. So, I mean, I'm supposed to talk about HGX, but I love so much OpenStreetMap and they are really part of us right now. I mean, that's really great. So if you are not in the Mapathon, please register, and then you will learn a lot, and you will see like a wonderful community. And that's why we are really working closely with them. Our data manager, for example, in Dakar, he's like a lead of OpenStreetMap. He did a lot in West Africa. So I think OpenStreetMap and HGX goes hand by hand. I mean, we are really like working together. So one thing I want also to mention, I mean, this is now a bigger thing, bigger than HGX. The name is the center. It will be at The Hague in Netherlands, and the scope of this is beyond, I mean, what we are doing at HGX. HGX is just one part of the Center for Humanitarian Data. We realized that just having a platform, sharing data, is not enough if you want to change things in the humanitarian sector. You need also to train people how to use data. We did last week a workshop in Dakar about data skills. We have around 50 people. We trained them about how to use R, how to use OpenStreetMap, how to make a graphs, how to just be data literate. So data literacy, for example, is a big aspect of what we are trying to do. And this is just the first of this type of training. We want to do more in West Africa. So I hope that you have the opportunity to come in Ghana, for example, or elsewhere. It can be in Togo or in other countries to continue on this. Yeah.
So is it possible to be able to know about this and learn more about this remotely without having to, be in a session where you'd have to do a training or anything? So if I want to learn about this, I can go on the internet remotely and get to know some of the tools and get to learn a lot more so that I get myself abreast to whatever it is.
I mean, a great question. Sometimes what you are doing is this kind of webinar or online training using WebEx or other tools like that. So what I can do is, because if you are not in the mailing list or you are not following our account, please follow the account on Twitter. Every time there are some session online things, you'll be aware, and then usually it's free. And then, yeah, last time we had one on visualization. It was really great. An expert, she's really great. She's a designer. She's doing a lot of V's, and she did a 2-hour session just on V's, and it was really great. I wish more people knew about that. So please follow the Twitter account, Data, and then you will have all information about upcoming trainings. But we want also to do really on-site training. I agree with you. It's expensive to do on-site training, and so please follow the Twitter account, and then you can get information about the upcoming trainings. One aspect also I talked about community. The center will be about community, how to build community beyond OpenStreetMap. Here, for example, we have data community growing. I met people using R, there are Python people, there are people really growing community that we want to support. So how to do that? What's the best way? What's the best approach? And one important aspect for the center is data policy. When we talk about sharing, we need to set rules, how to share the data. We cannot just do whatever we want. There's license, how to work with the government. So there's a big part also about policy, because we want to make sure that we have the right data and we got it the right way. Not, for example, scrapping a website without the permission, and then you can have a lot of legal problems. So data policy also will be part of this. So this is, I'm supposed to do a demo, but I think we don't have much time. So what I prefer to do is just show you quickly the platform. Hopla. Yeah. So when you go on HDX, the URL is, I'm showing the URL, I'm just typing that, is yumdata.org. So once you type that, you go directly on the platform. And the first page is something like that. So the most important thing on the platform is the search. So if you want to find some data. So someone can help me, give me just one keyword or something like that. If you want to, you are looking for some data, right? I will type, just say something. Geolocation? Geolocation. I'm not sure I will find something, but let's try. So, yeah. Typing geolocation, I have how many results? Let's type the first. Let's go to the first result. Okay. Yeah. So for example, here we have one data set for the DHN, which is a network. For people working on crisis. Usually, they crowdsource and they do what we call data scramble in crisis. They gather in group and do a lot of work. You have data scientists and a lot of people. So here we have, for example, geolocation for digital humanitarian deployment. It is related to this crisis, Typhoon Haiyan. You heard about it? Yeah. So usually the page is like that. And here we have just one resource, a CSV file. You can go either preview the data or download it directly. And one thing important for us is the metadata. Because to use the data, you need to know the source, what is the organization. The organization is Open Crisis here. The countries covered by the data, Philippines, and the license, you see. we're talking this morning at the first session about license. So, I mean, and you have also, for example, here, the things was scrapped from, oh, let's see. You have even the script to get the data. So usually, that's how it works on the platform.
Let me ask a quick question on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I want to find out if I go on this particular website and I want to get some information and I see probably the information that I want, how do I extract the information and feed it into my whatever solution I'm trying to solve? Because like I discussed earlier with you, for example, I'm working with a local startup company where we are trying to provide solution for the general public in finding drugs and pharmacies and health institutions, and get to know what they do and information about health insurance, which is the most important thing we are doing. Now, in doing that, we need additional data. Organizations like you, but how do we get the data that
You already have a the platform, and what do you think about it? I know you I just presented HGX in a few minutes, but if you had to rebuild something like that, what will you do? So I'm just thanks again for your question. Yeah.
I want to add something. You said if the data you want to have, for example, is not exist or is missing, how to add it. With OpenStreetMap team, you can learn how to add something on OpenStreetMap and how to get it. So it will be interesting to know how to map, how to edit was data. So I'm inviting you this evening to join us, and you will know how to do it.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, what we can do is maybe after mapping, we will export the data mapped into HGX. I mean, in one of our instances, for example, testing instance, just to show how we can go from mapping to directly giving the data into the hand of humanitarian. I mean, that can be great. I mean, so sometimes we want to make a difference, and if you are not going to the field, for example, in northern Nigeria, you can still help. I mean, in your room, in your computer, just mapping and helping people on the field. So, yeah. Please go to the Mapathon this evening. Which time?
I just want to add this. If you can't come, we can right now. I can show you the platform. You can register yourself. I can show you my identity, and we can exchange on OpenStreetMap.
Okay.
Voilà. It's possible to do it.
Okay, so.
And I can share you all information.
But when it starts, the Mapathon?
Mapathon mobile 6 to 23 heures.
Okay, 11. So from 6 to
11 p.m.
So it will be here?
No, at Mobile Web Ghana.
Oh, okay. So at Mobile Web Ghana. Okay,
Mobile
great.
Web Ghana.
So those who want to, stay in touch with him and Natalie. They will explain.
Exactly.
So one thing, maybe for example, this is what we call the map preview. Every time we upload some spatial data, we have an automatic way to see the data. I mean, when I presented you, I mentioned automatic. We have a lot of tools that allow to get automatic way to visualize the data. We have many people on our team doing visualization. They are data scientists, statisticians. They know how to visualize the data. But we want people like you, for example, uploading the data. And if you don't have a lot of time doing your own viz, you can have maybe just in 1 and 2 click a lot of options to visualize the data. This is what we call smart charts. It's powered by technology called HXL. We cannot talk a lot about this, but basically, this is the tool we are using to standardize the data. HXL stands for Humanitarian Exchange Language. It's a system based on hashtags to consolidate a lot of data for diverse sources. So, for example, here we have one data set, Kenya Health Site, but we have 3 resources. We have the GeoJSON, if you want GeoJSON data, we have the CSV, and we have the shapefile for the shapefile lovers. A lot of people are still using shapefiles. So, yeah. Yeah,
question, please. I want to know, so HD's platform is, well, can say that is an EDS, on, how to say it in English?
EDS, ça veut dire quoi? What's the meaning of EDS?
Infrastructure de données spatiales.
SDI. Spatial
SDI,
data, yeah.
exactly.
I mean, I will not say directly SDI because we are more than spatial data. We are not like GeoNetwork or GeoNode or something like that. We are really a platform to share data in general. We have a lot of non-spatial data, and we are, if you know, I mean, CCAN, we are just a fork of CCAN. We modified just a little bit. I mean, a lot of countries and initiatives use CCAN to share data. So if you know about it, no. So we are not really really an SDI in the proper sense. Yeah. Yes.
Let's, for example, I need to extract data from HGX, and I'm a student. I need the data for my project. So what do I do since I need to log in the organization I belong to?
Yeah. I want to point out something really important. If you want to get data from HDX, you don't need anything. I mean, everyone can go on the platform and download any type of data. Okay? Now, if you want to use the API, you need to register, for example, on the platform. I think we can, but if you are not using the API and you just want to download the data, I mean, you can do it directly. And even the API, you don't need to register, say, if you want to upload. Most of the time, when you want to get the data, you don't need anything. But the problem is when you want to upload data into HGX, now you need to register. So if you're a student, we receive a lot of requests from students because sometimes they go on the platform, particularly PhD students, I don't know why. They go on the platform, they get the data, and they want more. For example, let's say I have boundaries from one country. I go on up to admin level 2. For example, in Mali, it will be CERC. And I want admin level 3, and admin level 3 is not on HGX. So they send a message. Oh, I'm doing this research. I want this data. Please, how can you help me? And what we are doing, we contact the contributor of the original data and we ask him directly, do you have admin level 3? This person wants this. And sometimes, and most of the time, they say, oh, we have it, but we didn't upload the data. And then sometimes they upload directly the data. Something really important for all people uploading data into HGX, they are the one putting the data on the platform. We don't put the data on their behalf. And there's a frequency usually to update the data. If you upload your data and you say the data has to be uploaded every month, if in 2 months you didn't upload the data, we send you an email, say, oh, this data has been like 2 months, you didn't upload it. Is there any problem? How can we help? So just to quickly respond to your question, if you're a student and you need some data, please go to the platform, try to search, try to download. I mean, you don't need anything. Okay. Someone want to add something about humanitarian data? I hope people will use the platform after this talk, right? And please talk about it. I mean, I was a researcher before working on HGX, and I was just like him. I mean, I was just using HGX to get spatial data because we are really good on spatial data because we are working closely with the government, and when you want boundaries and this type of data, the validation of the government is really important because it's a political, things. And also, if you want the official data, official boundaries, a good way to get the data is really to go to HGX. I didn't say accurate everything, but I say official data because you have a process. For example, it's an OCHA project, and if you go to organization, we have OCHA organization on HGX, and they are the one usually providing this type of official, endorsed data by the government. So each time you want this type of data, the only place I know is HGX. So if you want roads, settlements, boundaries, this type of data, you have almost everything for every type of country. And now with OpenStreetMap, you have, a lot of data from OpenStreetMap also covering the world. So there is really a lot of data. What we want to do now is really to explore universities and to discuss with students. A lot of them are looking for data when they want to do the internship or for the research. And sometimes they don't know that this data is available on this platform. So spread the word around you if you know people that looking for certain type of data, particularly related to humanitarian, the chances are high that the data will be on the platform. So I can take 1 or 2 questions, and then, yeah. So everything is perfectly clear, so everyone knows about HGX. I can do a quiz now. Okay, so we stop here. So thanks again for attending this talk about humanitarian data. Please just spread the word about this project. I mean, it's a wonderful project. We are trying to change how people think about humanitarian action. And I mean, let's stay in touch. We are looking for volunteers, I mean, to test the data, to play with that, or to have some type of project. So please, let's just continue discussion during these events. Thanks again.